It's time for another episode where we try and take a manager's system and translate it to football manager. This time, we're traveling to Bayern Munich. My name is Daljit. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the channel. This is the place where you'll see me doing short form content for the game Football Manager. I also stream 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays over on Daljit's Moments. You can always catch me there. Drop in, say hello, and who knows, you could get a good conversation going. At the age of 28, he was the youngest ever head coach in the Bundesliga. He was born when Sir Alex Ferguson was appointed manager of Manchester United. Julian Nagelsmann is a manager who has turned the career of Leroy Sané around. Now, when Leroy Sané first joined Bayern Munich, people were asking whether or not the 60 million euros was money well spent. He had a lot of lifeless displays. You wouldn't see him tracking back. And there were question marks about his ability. Since Nagelsmann has taken over, he has taken Leroy Sané under his wings, given him extra sessions where the two of them conducted special finishing sessions, and the German international was also encouraged to work with a club sports psychologist. This turned him around. It turned Leroy Sané from producing games where he wouldn't be tracking back to matches where now he is combining regular defensive actions in the final third with the willingness to bust the gut and come back to help his side defend. While he was at Leipzig, Nagelsmann used a 4-2-2-2. When he moved over to Bayern Munich, he adopted Hansi Flick's 4-2-3-1 and tweaked it to give it a bit more defensive solidity. Naturally, there are going to be multiple points of view on the system that Julian Nagelsmann is playing with Bayern Munich. This is simply my interpretation of the system that they use. It's narrow in possession, allowing for an effective counter-press when they lose the ball. It's also staggered in such a way that it denies the opponents a chance to bypass them through the center. Bayern Munich like to line up in a 4-2-3-1, but when they have possession of the ball, this is a team that's very fluid in its tactical shape. In possession, you will see Alphonso Davies, their left back, bomb down the flanks, while Leroy Sané, playing as an inverted winger on his preferred foot, will sit narrow. The team will transition into a side that looks more like a 2-3-4-1, with Kimmich playing a holding role in front of the two defenders. So why do they set up in such a staggered shape, a 2-3-4-1? Well, the goal is actually to stretch their second tier, not the back line. By having 3 central midfielders, they're able to shut down vertical passes through the middle. And at the same time, if they were to lose possession while they were attacking, they can counter-press easily because they'll have the numbers in support to win the ball back. It's certainly possible to bring several elements of Bayern Munich style into Football Manager. These include a propensity to play the ball out of defense with patient build-outs from the back. When they are in attack, the team is very fluid. There are multiple players moving off the ball. And when they get into the final third, there is a nice overload happening on the left side of the pitch. They get goals through cutbacks, through low crosses as well. While the predominant passing style is short, they are also capable of doing direct, quick transitional attacks that can sometimes be your 1-2 pass from the back into attack. When I'm setting up the tactic, I'll be paying close attention to several players as a focus. I'm going to be looking at Joshua Kimmich, making sure that he's the central pivot in midfield, while Leon Goretzka roams and pushes forward. Alphonso Davies will have to provide width on the left side with Leroy Sané tucking inside as he goes bombing down the flanks. And then Pavard is an interesting one because in some matches he just plays like a regular ball-playing defender that might sit out wide, giving people the impression that it's a back 3. And other times, he could be sitting in the DM slot, forming that 3 in midfield that we are looking for. When it comes to without the ball, this is where things get a bit more interesting with Bayern Munich. Counter-pressing is definitely on. This is very easy to achieve. However, it's their man-marking system that's a bit interesting. Yes, I said man-marking because there's a bit of an Bielsa feel to Bayern Munich at times. You will see players having strict responsibilities in marking opposition players, but they don't do it to everyone. Because what I noticed with their system is when they start using pressing traps. Pressing traps are activated for central defenders. Any player in the middle is hard tackled. Players on the flanks, especially one fullback might be left alone so that the opposition are encouraged to play out to him as he's the free player. And that's where they will allow him to try and play the ball out while man marking the rest of the team tight. And then if the ball gets into the center, that's where they hard tackle. Let's go set up our opposition instructions. They look a bit extreme. We're going to be tight marking everybody across the pitch except for the left back or the left wing back. We're also using show onto foot to shut down pressing angles. I've already covered what pressing angles are in a create defensive traps video that I've released a few days ago. Please go check that out for a more detailed explanation of how pressing traps actually work. We're also going to be hard tackling players in the middle, but we're focusing only on systems that are with 3 central midfielders or a single central midfielder. We don't want to double press 2 DM systems at the back. It'll be far too easy for them to play the ball behind us. As far as the trigger press is concerned, it's a simple setup where we press opposition central defenders and the goalkeeper. What we're not doing is pressing the left back or the left wing back. So we've been testing this system with Bayern Munich for a while, and it was nice to see our OIs working against Barcelona in the Champions League, as their central midfielders would often find themselves faced with a bone-crunching tackle. What I want to see when we have the ball is Pavard bringing the ball out on the right side. And then when we go into transition, there are about 3 defensive midfielders. Finally, when the ball moves into the midfield here, we get as many as 4. Plenty of good off-the-ball movement with Leroy Sané attacking down the left. This staggered build-up creates multiple passing options and numerical overloads in all tiers, culminating in as many as 4 attacking the box, which gave Barcelona's defenders in the Champions League a dilemma: who do you mark? Counter-pressing well is a vital component, and if we do lose the ball, we want to win it back quickly to mount an attack. This may not be a perfect replication of Bayern Munich, but I wanted their counter-pressing to create goal-scoring chances as often as possible. Now I'm almost embarrassed to show the Bayern Munich system. It looks deceptively simple. Now remember, this system was designed for Bayern Munich and its players. If you're going to download the tactic or replicate this tactic with Luton or Derby County, hoping that it will miraculously produce results, I'm afraid it won't. I did say it's a simple looking 4-2-3-1. We've got team instructions: out of possession with a higher defensive line and a higher line of engagement. We've got prevent short goalkeeper distribution. Notice there's no tight marking here and no hard tackling here. We're doing it exclusively via OIs and PIs. In transition, we're telling the keeper to take short kicks and distribute it to the backline with a counter press and counter on. In possession, we're using shorter passing with a higher tempo. Play out of defense with a focus down the left with an overlap, fairly narrow in attacking with here with low crosses. Mentality is only on positive. Now let's get down to some of the roles and duties. Working from the back, we're using a goalkeeper instead of a sweeper keeper. Naturally, you feel like using a sweeper keeper, go ahead, no one's going to stop you. I just prefer goalkeepers on FM22. An inverted wingback, central defender, ball-playing defender, and a wingback on attack, box-to-box midfielder, a DLP in central midfielder on defend duty so that he holds back, allowing this player to move up the pitch. If we're using an inverted wingback on support, occasionally you might want to think about inverted wingback on defend for the tougher games. Here we've got a winger on attack, AM on support, inverted winger on support on the left flank. Yes, Sané is used as an inverted winger there. Then we've let Lewandowski, the great Lewandowski, he's smart enough to know what to do. We'll tell him to be a complete forward. So what's the hidden sauce? Yes, there's some hidden sauce in this tactic. Roam from position for the winger. Inverted winger has been told to sit narrow, tackle harder, mark tighter. The AM has been told to roam from position, move into channels, tackle harder and mark tighter. Lewandowski has been told to do nothing but be Lewandowski. In midfield, we've got a DLP who's been told to play with more direct passes. The box-to-box midfielder has been told to do nothing. Leon Goretzka is going to be roaming. You can also play him as a roaming playmaker if you want, but I thought against it. Now here, this role for the attacking midfielder for Muller, you can also use a trequartista. You shouldn't find that it is too different in how the role performs. If you're going to use a trequartista or AP on support, those are viable roles. Now the thing is, for all those roles, you're gonna have to set him up with Mark Taiter. That's the reason why I didn't go for the trequartista, because we can't tackle harder with the trequartista. We can certainly get him to move into channels and roam from position, but because I wanted these 4 PIs, we went with the AM on support. Another one would be the AP on support. Those are both viable roles for this position. Now, with the wingback on the left, you can also tell him to stay wider so that he hugs the line. Now, that's not necessarily an instruction that you should put on, but I'm kind of, surprised that SI don't have stay wider as a default instruction for wingbacks at the moment. But if you don't want to, it's also perfectly fine. I actually used it without the stay wider instruction. The ball playing defenders have got no special instructions, except you might want to think about doing tight marking, although I didn't have it set up in this tactic and it didn't seem to create that much of a problem. The inverted wingback has got Mark Taiter, so we've got Mark Taiter on the 2 fullbacks. He has got Mark Taiter. Remember the instruction on our OIs, we want to leave the right back relatively free for our opposition instruction. Relatively free for our opposition instructions. It's bloody 3 o'clock in the morning. What do you expect? Okay, so we've got all this done. And that's how I set up the tactic. It's pretty straightforward. Once again, the opposition instructions are a vital part of this system, right? So you're gonna have to set these up as well, because if you want the pressing systems to work on Football Manager 22, yes, get those OIs in. Normally, I like to test tactics out by playing them an entire season, but hey, 2 kids at home, COVID's happening. It's kind of hard, with all the content that we're pushing out. So this is our results for the last couple of matches. I told you I couldn't play the whole season. The moment we finished the Barcelona game, I was done. We've played quite a few matches already, and we've had some solid performances, including a 5-0 win over Olympiacos, and then followed that up with an away win to Barcelona. Borussia Dortmund were thumped 4-1, so was Borussia Mönchengladbach. And in terms of our data, the team is averaging 4 goals per game with an expected goals ratio of 3.19. I do expect this to drop to about 2+ over the rest of the season, but I do think that 4-2-3-1s can produce a very high XG on Football Manager at this moment in time. So if you are going to go out there and create goal-scoring tactics with fantastic strikers, we're 6 games in and Lewandowski has already scored 16 goals this season. Will this tactic work with every team? Of course not. I don't expect this tactic to work with all teams. It was designed for Bayern Munich, for the way they play. So if you're going to try and put this system and get it to work with Derby County, I don't think it's going to work, because you need the right kind of players for this system. Naturally, there are going to be other versions of this tactic, and I'm very interested to hear your thoughts. What are your replications of Julian Nagelsmann's system on Football Manager 22? Please put them in the comments below. I want to hear from you. What do you think of the opposition instructions? Have you been using them in your tactics, and do you find them enjoyable to use? Because I certainly do. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video and found it useful. If you have any further questions, you guys know where to find me. Please stay safe and healthy, and once again, thanks for the support.